Hi, I'm live. Take two, because take one didn't work. Okay, I have to move the microphone to its right spot. So today we are going to be making a necklace with this Deadpool keychain that a friend of mine bought and sent to me so that I could turn it into a necklace. So, and it's also going to be obviously a kind of a... Hold on a second. What is this? Chat messages will be flagged in chat for you or your moderators to approve or remove them. You can turn this on and off anytime in your chat settings. Not now. So, alrighty. So let's make a Deadpool necklace for the beautiful Pamela. So the first step when I do this is I have to remove the extra hardware. So in this case, I'm going to have to also turn the little hook on top, because right now it's not in a position. Whoops! I keep pointing it at the old position of my camera, because I had to move it back so I'd have more room. Okay, so Deadpool's ready, but we're not. We have to give Deadpool some beads. Hello, Yvette! Mwah! Okay, so we're going to start. The way I do it is when I work with a pendant like this, is I look at the main colors and the secondary colors and try to decide. Obviously, main color here is red. If I make an entirely red necklace, we're just going to lose Deadpool. So there's got to be some red, but there's going to be a lot less red proportionally to what the color, to proportionate to the... I can spec. I'm going to drink some water. In my Totoro glass. And I'm wearing my Totoro necklace that I made. And a little scrump one. Alrighty, so we are going to start with the red. My beads are super horribly organized. So what I do is I pull out pretty much everything that looks like it's the right color, and then I fine-tune it. If you don't have a gigantic bead stash like I do, you basically just need to take your pendant, your focal, whatever, to the store with you, and you pick the colors according to what looks good with your focal. That seems to be about all the nice red I've got in here to work with. Yeah. Then obviously we're going to look at the black. Good black beads are hard to find. And these square ones are kind of fun, I guess, for Deadpool. Obviously just regular round black beads. The tricky thing, if you don't already have a bead stash, is that you'll probably end up buying more beads than you need. Simply because if you want to have enough to work with to, be flexible in your design, you might end up buying more beads than you might have otherwise needed. I'm going to try to trim down the number of things on this. I've got doubles. Okay, so we've got red and black. Where's Deadpool? And Deadpool has some brown on him and some silver. So we could work with silver. I don't think I'm going to put anything brown in there, though. So we're going to look at what we have that is silvery metallic. Sadly, I think most of my silvery metallic stuff is nature themed, so I may not find anything that's Deadpool appropriate. Because Deadpool ain't no hippie. Although it would be kind of hysterical to just add some flowers. Yeah, that might be funny if I added some... Okay, camera, where's the camera? You can stop moving. There we go. I'm thinking the little kind of 5-petaled flowers might be funny. And maybe a butterfly? Yeah, how about a butterfly? I really keep pointing stuff towards the old... well, not the old, but towards the tripod. So I'm just going to take it away. There we go. Okay. It's kind of tricky because... Well, yeah, that kind of works. Butterflies and skulls. I don't think I have skulls. Is this better? But we can't see me. It's kind of tricky. Okay, hold on. Okay. This is really, really tricky. Okay. So if I'm here, that's too much. We just sort of get it almost. I may need to in the future. Okay, this is a little bit better. Hold on. Push the keyboard. No. Yes. And then I can move him. Make a lot of noise over there. I need 2 cameras, I wish. Well, do I have anything that is skull-shaped? Or a skull? I think not. I think this is just going to be slightly hippie Deadpool. Because, yeah. Definitely don't have skulls. Note to self, need skulls. Okay. So, this, that. I might use... No, I won't use that. See, this is wonderful arrangement I've got going on here. Okay, let's look again. There is white, but I don't want to use too much white. I don't think I'm going to use any white. So, okay. So the silver components are going to be the hippie stuff. And now we're going into the crystal tray. Because it's not Deadpool if it's not sparkly, I say. Deadpool has some pizzazz. got about the best options pulled out. And I'm going to use just regular matte. If you get it wet. And it actually lasts a really, really long time, because when I started making jewelry and I didn't know what I was doing, I just used fishing line because I didn't know any better. And as I progressed and started learning more, I started using proper jewelry wire. And I found that if you're not careful, you end up with the wire, the plastic or whatever coating on the jewelry wire will sort of flake apart, and then the wire falls apart, because jewelry wire is dozens of little tiny wires twisted together. So yeah, I had a lot of pieces that would fall apart where they had been crimped. And I sort of decided, well, maybe I'll just go back to fishing wire. And I've had great results with just fishing wire. So that's what I'm using. My mouth is getting really dry. Lemon water. I would say nectar of the gods, but that would be BS. Okay. I actually haven't, so, it's on fishing line now. How exciting. Such great progress. Now I actually have to sort of look at everything and decide what exactly I am going to use. So I really like these. I think these are 6 millimeter, 7 millimeters red coral beads, I believe. And okay, so these are nice. And are these all the same thing? Yeah, these are all. Okay, so that's probably just going to be the only red I'm going to use, is these red bamboo coral beads, and maybe also these 5 millimeter ones. Okay, so not going to use these really big red ones. May, however, use, don't know how well I'm going to be able to show them off, these sparkly red ones, just to add a little bit of flash. So, okay, so that's going to be the red. It may look like a lot when I said I wasn't going to use a lot, but that's just because these are the ones I'm going to be using. I won't be using everything there. Okay, so some regular 6 or 7 millimeter black And these are 8 millimeters, apparently. Okay, so 6, 8. And I have more 6 here, so I'm just going to switch that out. And some 4. Yeah, the necklace is going to be, I think, predominantly black with a little bit of Okay, so now if I'm going to be using the butterflies and the flowers, put these there. And do I want to use the smaller flowers as well? Do I? Should I? Would I? Could I? Sorry, I was just reading the comment from Yvette. Okay, so I think that this is that. Okay, well, let's go. Let's get goofy. So, little spacer beads. Push this. Let's see if I push it too far out. I think the camera moved. This is annoying. Not good. Still not good. This is kind of better. Okay. So yeah, it is hard to see though because of my lighting. I really have to work on a lot of the details. How's this? Yeah, we see the work thing better. So my light is too bright, basically. But I have to do with what I have. Okay, so when I have a pendant like this, I don't want to wedge it between 2 large beads directly because that tends to make them sort of not move properly. Like they don't hang as well. So what I prefer to do is use 1 spacer between 2 larger beads. I think there's an angle to my table because everything is rolling to the center. So just the 1 bead. And I'm going to wedge it between 2 black ones. So I need to... Okay. So in this case, I'm using black onyx. But honestly, when it comes to black beads, I'm not picky because you'd be amazed at how hard it is, at least in my area, to find just simple black round beads. In glass, they're pretty much non-existent. I haven't found them anywhere. Like I only found 1 strand of 12 millimeter black glass beads at Michael's one time, but it was something like $20. So obviously I did not spend $20 on gigantic black beads that I wouldn't be able to use into much of anything because I tend not to work in anything quite that big. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a smaller red bead. When I do this, it's always entirely possible that I will undo what I've done. because very rarely do I have the exact pattern of beads in mind. I kind of start stringing and see how things look and how well they pair together to give me the effect I want. And there's no formula. I mean, the effect I want, if you translate this to your own work or crafting, it basically translate to you saying the effect I want. I'm a big proponent of looking at what other people do but doing your own thing. I mean, I'm often inspired by other people's work, but I don't copy it. Like, I will like a certain way someone has arranged certain colors that I might not have thought of, and I will take those colors and do my own thing, but I don't copy the work. So, okay, now I think I'm going to have me some flowers. And I will start small with the smaller flowers. Now, these are just regular metal that's made to look silver. Silverer. What does it say they are? Oh, it says they're silver plated. So, although, you know, coming from cheap made in China beads, I take the whole silver plated thing with a grain of salt. By the way, if you're wondering why I have, in this case, medieval music playing in the background, I'm not sure if you can hear it. The mic is fairly close to my my Google Home. I'm playing medieval music because every time I have regular contemporary music playing in the background, my videos get flagged for, you know, do you have permission to use this music? And it's just it's gotten a bit silly. I mean, I'm absolutely an advocate of protecting the rights of artists, but seriously, if someone is making, I'm making jewelry, and normally I would have, you know, more upbeat music playing in the background. But what's annoying is sometimes they will detect a popular song and then they mute your video because they've detected this song and they think you're stealing the intellectual property of. I mean, that must be really exhausting for them, constantly making sure we're not stealing anyone's intellectual property. And it, I mean, it seems pointless. And it also seems to me kind of creepy that, like, every little thing we do is scrutinized. But I suppose that's life in the modern world. So yeah, that's why we have, it's actually really quiet now, so you probably can't hear it at all. Which means my videos are possibly, the live ones are going to be possibly quite boring when I'm not talking. And yes, I hold my pinky in the air when I drink water. I'm a fancy bitch. I wonder if the YouTube uploader thingy or detects foul language, and if I'm going to get flagged for using bad language. I promise to sort of mostly try not to speak like a sailor. Swear like a sailor? A drunken sailor? Okay, so I've got a tiny pattern going here. And what I'm going to do is have different patterns separated. Pardon me. Okay, now I know. Now I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically be repeating the small pattern of a 6mm black, 4mm red, a flower, or in the case of the next pattern, it's going to be on one side a butterfly, on the other side a larger flower, and these little patterns are going to be separated by these sparkly red ones. So I actually won't be using the the whole thing is kind of fluid, basically. It's constantly changing. At least I won't have to restart this one, which is what sometimes happens. And by sometimes, I mean half the time. I'll start a pattern, and sometimes I'm like halfway done, and I start looking at it, and I'm like, nah, that's just not what I wanted, or it just doesn't work. And you have to pull the whole thing apart and start over. Or, of course, my favorite is you're like literally I really think my camera is moving as I'm working. Okay, so obviously this butterfly has a top and a bottom, so I have to be careful not to put it on upside down. And the little flower. I think actually the spacer bead might just disappear into... No, it's good. I cut way too much wire for this. But I don't want to shorten it because that always comes back to bite me. I shortened them and then realized I so should not have made it shorter. It's actually a necklace I made a few days ago that I literally had to crimp the ends of my thread to be able to work one other side to get it into the other beads, to crimp on one, and it was hell. It was hell. I had about an inch left. So half an inch on both sides. It was fun. There was a lot of dropping and having to restring stuff when that happened. I'm really going to have to try to figure out what the deal is with having music playing in the background, because it just isn't I can't find the word, but you know, I'm not going to be able to just talk nonstop during these things, and it would be nice if there was something in the background. I suppose I could find something like free music online. That's got to exist, right? I know there's some for when you at least my husband said that there was some that you could use, like YouTube has it available. So if you want to speed up your video and just have music playing on top of it, like they have music that you can use. So I suppose there's that, or something like it that I can play. Public domain music. Now there's a thought. Okay, Google, play some music that's available in the public domain.
I looked for that's available in the public domain, but it either isn't available or can't be played right now.
Oh, dear Google. How am I going to ask Google this? I have no idea. We're just going to stay with the medieval music. Because, I'm pretty sure those people aren't going to be coming after me for the rights to their music. Because they're ever so slightly dead. 18C Beansy Bit decomposed. They're sort of, not coming after me for royalties anytime soon. More wata. Uncopyrighted music. Oh yeah, I suppose that's an idea. Hey Google, play some uncopyrighted music.
Okay, playing uncopyrighted stream music on.
Oh dear. It's some of that music. No need to tell me I'm like the greatest dancer you've ever seen. I totally know. Okay, Google. Anyway, it's better than the medieval music. Am I doing this right? Yeah. In my defense, I am in so much pain right now. It is hard to concentrate on anything. But I decided I wasn't going to let fibromyalgia win today. So I decided I was going to do this instead of moaning on the couch. The afternoon can be devoted to moaning on the couch while watching Alien. Okay, Google, volume down by. Still watching. I'm going to call these hanging out with Yvette. I'm going to put the flower, because on the larger silvers, I have on one side a flower, on one side a butterfly. I'm going to inverse that, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I'm going to inverse the pattern. Dropping beads on the floor. I'm very good at that. It's a skill. You may not have that skill, but I do. I call them floor necklaces. They're still in an IKEA state where they need to be put together. But you know, if you come over to my house, you can roll around on the floor with the dust bunnies and get up with a necklace that just happened as you were rolling around in the dust bunnies and beads. And I'm not being silly. If you think about it, as you roll around, you end up threading the dust bunnies. You know, they turn into thread and the beads get onto there and you've got yourself a wonderful dust bunny necklace. DIY from the floor. It's a great idea. I'm making a boo-boo again. That's what happens when you're more focused on making dumb jokes than doing your job, Annie. I'm actually thinking of possibly doing sort of a hangout with Annie kind of thing, mostly for my bloggess bitches. My bloggesses. If you don't know who the bloggess is, then let me suggest that you desperately need to Google Jenny Lawson. Jenny Lawson is a woman who lives with depression and anxiety and all kinds of issues like that. She is a real person, and she has a sense of humor and a way to look at life that very much matches my own. And actually, I first read her work when I was in the hospital because I was suicidal. And if I recall, I had bought her book a few weeks before I ended up in the hospital. And I just asked my husband to bring it to me in the hospital. And I read it, and it changed my life. She has this amazing talent for just, I suppose I can call it storytelling. She turns even the most banal things into amazing, hysterical stories. And I do that too, but I do it more verbally. I mean, I'm pretty good at writing also, but I've tried to translate my sense of humor to written form, and I just find it exhausting. It's easier for me to just talk. Typing's fun, and I do it all the time, and I'm constantly expressing stuff. But for me, in written form, it's all about just kind of outbursts. Like I'll suddenly just think something and log on to Facebook and just blurt it out into a status update, and there it is. So that's more how I express myself in written form. So yeah, I find actually that although I'm sure these videos will be a lot of babbling, basically, especially if I'm unscripted. But yeah, I just have an easier time verbally than I do in written form. It's messier. It's definitely messier. But it's me. I am messy. I am not polished. And it's terrifying for someone like me to put myself out there. Absolutely terrifying. But for me, it's necessary as part of my healing process, because the things that have happened to me in life have left me feeling like a weirdo who does not belong anywhere, other than in this little family that I've created for myself with my husband and my children. And, that's my little world, and I fit into that little world. But I have a hard time really feeling like I have a place in the world outside my little microcosm. And I know that's wrong. I mean, intellectually, I know that that's wrong. And I know that people have told me that I actually fit in by being the oddball. So there is a role for me in society of being the, I won't say marginalized, but, which is basically not the norm. I'm not sure. I call it eccentric. People want to correct me and think it's pejorative, but eccentric, I'd have to look up the exact definition, but I think eccentric works. And I also like crazy, but I own crazy, as in I'm crazy in a good way. So, I don't know. Food for thought. Thought trails off. Gonna have to check the length of this thing, because the person I'm making it for, Pamela, asked for not too long, not too short. So it's not quite long enough yet, but we're getting there. Then I'm actually not going to be able to show how I finish and close it, because once I think I have the right length, I'm going to have to contact Pamela and see if it suits her, and then I can close it. So I really have a lot of fun putting together these, I'm going to say Funko keychain necklaces, because mostly I use Funko Pop keychains when I make these necklaces. But sometimes it's just toys or various other goofy things that wouldn't normally be used as pendants. But I just like doing that. I was actually planning to, do and sell a lot of them. But then I got a bit of a cold shower. That doesn't work, I think, actually. In French, it works. In English, cold shower is only about staving off arousal. But yeah, what happened is I had made a necklace with a pusheen keychain, and I put it on my Etsy store, and I identified it as a pusheen necklace because it's pusheen on the necklace. And the Pusheen Corporation got mad and alerted Etsy that I was stealing their intellectual property. Stealing intellectual property is the key word apparently lately. So yeah, I mean, they took it off and Etsy, and I wasn't going to put it back on. I have no intention of stealing anyone's intellectual property, and definitely not for some gigantic profit, because when I make these necklaces, I don't charge as much as I would if I had used another focal. So yeah, but anyway, I'm probably going to stop making them, except like in this case, when someone commissions a piece, because I really have no intention of stealing anyone's intellectual property, and I don't want to be accused of doing that. So I suppose, that's going to be that. Okay, let's see. This is kind of... Okay. I'm going to stop there and contact Pamela and see if she likes it that way. And if she does, then I will close it. And this concludes my first live broadcast, and I don't know where to look. I am such a noob. But it's been fun, and it's been me and Yvette, but we had good times. And hopefully next time, today I had 1. The next time I'll have 100. The next time I'll have 1,000, then 10,000, then 100,000, then 1,000,000, and I will be a superstar. Not. Actually, don't ever want to have 1,000,000 viewers, because that would be terrifying. So yeah, thank you for being live with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry there was no pornography and puppies and no making extreme reactions.